Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here and 4Ks, and sometimes we compare releases between different labels, which I'm going to do a little bit of that in this episode. But primarily, I'm talking about a decent stack of stuff I got from Imprint. Although a couple of these are actually 4Ks from Viavision, which is the parent company of Imprint Films in Australia. So we'll get into this. We got some box sets, actually multiple box sets, a couple 4Ks, some pretty exciting stuff, some Blu-ray debuts, which is interesting. Imprint does tend to bring those sometimes. We'll start with one of the more exciting in the group here, and this is a gigantic box. The Cinema of Powell and Pressburger Collection 1. Exciting in that it indicates a potential for a Collection 2. So what's in this box? And what's new, etc. This set contains 6 films from the Archers, the wonderful British filmmaking duo, much championed by Martin Scorsese. He was the way that I found them as a younger person, with things like Life and Death of Colonel Blimp and, of course, Black Narcissus, both of which are included here. And then on top of that, we have Matter, Life, and Death, which is also known as Stairway to Heaven. That is another great one. But we have a couple really interesting ones here that some of these I haven't even seen. So I'm very curious about at least a couple of them. But, all right, well, let's start with what's included here. So you have their 1939 film, The Spy in Black, which I have never seen and am very curious about. A German submarine is sent to the Orkney Isles in 1917 to sink the British fleet. This suspenseful World War I thriller is packed with twists, sabotage, and skillful performances from Conrad Veidt, Valerie Hobson, and Sebastian Shaw. So, you're selling me on a movie from 2 directors I love that I haven't seen. Very curious to see that one, and that includes a 1080p presentation in a restored high-def transfer. Apparently this has been available on Blu-ray elsewhere because they're not announcing it as a Blu-ray debut. But it does have a new audio commentary by film critic Kim Newman and Joe Botting from the BFI National Archive. It has a new Celluloid Miracle, an interview with Powell and Pressburger film scholar Ian Christie, and also new A Dazzling Start, an interview with author Charles Barr. So those are all included on that set. And of course, this set is, 6 actual discs. You have your Spy in Black, 49th Parallel, Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, Canterbury Tale, A Matter of Life and Death, and Black Narcissus, all included here in their own separate discs, which I do love, and which isn't that easy to do. It's much easier to make a smaller, more condensed package and put the discs in little, bindery sort of things and stuff. So, to make it not each disc is its own Blu-ray, and I do respect that they do that. Okay, next up we have the 49th Parallel. This is from 1941, with an original story and screenplay by Pressburger and direction from Michael Powell. This riveting drama hurls the viewer inside the early days of World War II with the mightiest manhunt that ever swept the screen. And it's a German U-boat is sunk in Canada's Hudson Bay, hoping to evade capture. A small band of German soldiers led by commanding officer Lieutenant Hirth attempts to cross the border into the United States, which has not yet entered the war and is officially neutral, starring Leslie Howard and Laurence Olivier. I think still pretty underseen in their canon, and one I remember Criterion has released on DVD, but not yet on Blu-ray, although there is a Carlotta Films Blu-ray I just noticed from quite a while ago. I want to say 2013. 1080p presentation from a restored high-def transfer. I don't have any more information than that, unfortunately. But nonetheless, exciting to have this in this set on Blu-ray. And this is an all-region set, so whereas the Carlotta films might be region locked, this is not. It has 3 new features: an audio commentary by film historians Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons, Call to Arms, an interview with Powell and Pressburger film scholar Ian Christie, and Statecraft and Stagecraft, an interview with author Jeremy Arnold. Those are all included. So we're getting a lot of new features on these that I know are not part of the previous releases. In some cases, Criterion has released these movies. Like I said, there's Criterion DVD of 49th Parallel. Next up is Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, which is one of my favorite movies and obviously one of my favorite Powell and Pressburger movies. Written and directed, it's a 2-disc set, by the way. Written and directed by Powell and Pressburger, this wartime Technicolor comedy, which is an interesting way to put it, I guess it is that, is among the most loved films of all time. General Candy, Clive Candy, that is, played by the great Roger Livesey, who's overseeing the English squad in 1943, is a veteran leader who doesn't have the respect of the men he's training and is considered out of touch with what's needed to win the war. But it wasn't always this way. Flashing back to his early career in the Boer War and World War I, we see a dashing young officer whose life has been shaped by 3 different women by a lasting friendship with a German soldier. The 3 different women are all played by Deborah Kerr. And that's a really interesting turn for her, and one of the reasons I love the movie. And the relationship he has with the German soldier is very special. A very special movie about friendship. I'm sure this is a big one for Wes Anderson as well as Scorsese, who did the commentary on the Criterion Blu-ray. Okay, so this does not include that commentary, by the way. 1080p high-definition transfer on Blu-ray from a 4K restoration by the Film Foundation and Janus Films in association with the BFI National Archive, ITV Studios Global Entertainment Limited, the Museum of Modern Art, and Romulus Films. Now, I think this might be a newer transfer than the Criterion Blu-ray, but it could be the same transfer, so don't quote me on that. Like I said, no Scorsese commentary, which was one of my favorite commentaries of all time, so obviously I got to hold on to my Criterion, but there's a new audio commentary by film historian Daniel Creamer. But that is all that's included on Disc 1. Disc 2 has Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, 115-minute 1945 US version in standard def, a new featurette called A Breakthrough, which is an interview with Powell and Pressburger film scholar Ian Christie. He may be present on all of these for all I know. And something called An Evolving Propaganda, interview with author Charles Drazen, as well as Martin Scorsese restoration piece, featurette, and a profile of the life and death of Colonel Blimp documentary. Then we have the big one in terms of this set, which is A Canterbury Tale from 1944. Life and Death of Colonel Blimp is 43. Canterbury Tale, 44. This is a Blu-ray, worldwide Blu-ray debut. This has never been available on Blu-ray before, so that is pretty exciting. So yeah, not even, I think Criterion may have done a DVD of that one, but yeah, there is no Blu-ray yet. Powell and Pressburger delve into the mystery genre in this take on Chaucer's classic 14th century works, A Tale of Connection and Redemption. There's a bizarre crime taking place in a small town near Canterbury. An unknown assailant known as the Glue Man is pouring glue on women's heads at nighttime, and 3 modern-day pilgrims are determined to investigate. A haunting dream that defies expectation. A Canterbury Tale is a must-see journey for fans of classic cinema. Have to admit right now, I haven't seen it. I have not seen Canterbury Tale. So, another reason I'm excited about this set. Special features: 1080p presentation from a restored high-definition transfer. New audio commentary by script supervisor Patty Arnold, second assistant editor Jim Popple, and author Paul Tritton. A new featurette called Popple's Pilgrimage, an interview with second assistant editor Jim Popple. New featurette called Listening to Britain, an interview with Powell and Pressburger film scholar Ian Christie. Another new featurette, Connecting with the Magic, an interview with film critic Kim Newman. Always welcome. Love his interviews. A another one, a new featurette called A Continual Revelation, interview with author Charles Barr, as well as American version excerpts starring Kim Hunter. 133. Okay, A Matter of Life and Death, 1946. This, of course, has a Criterion release. A defining film from the 1940s and all of cinema, Powell and Pressburger's meditation on life and death is an essential, unmissable, beautiful story. Couldn't agree with that more. Truly delightful. One of the great fantasy films probably ever. I mean, and the choice to shoot the earthbound sequences in color and the, limbo, heavenly sequences in black and white, I've always found kind of inspired. When a young RAF pilot miraculously survives bailing out of his airplane without a parachute, that's David Niven. He falls in love with an American radio operator, that's Kim Hunter, who he's talking to. Her name is June. And I do find that interesting. My daughter's name is June, and I had to tell her about it. I had to show her the scene of the two of them talking on the radio, where they kind of fall in love in one exchange, which is pretty beautiful and somehow believable, which is not easy to pull off. But the officials in the other world realize their mistake and dispatch an angel to collect him. Starring David Niven, Roger Livesey, Raymond Massey, Kim Hunter, and Marius Goring. Marius Goring is in The Red Shoes, Roger Livesey in the aforementioned Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. He's also in the wonderful I Know Where I'm Going, which just got announced not only to Blu-ray but 4K from Criterion, which is a really exciting upgrade of one of my favorite Powell and Pressburger films that's not in this set. 1080p definition presentation on Blu-ray from a restored transfer. New audio commentary by film historian author Stuart Galbraith IV. New featurette called Memories Matter, interview with assistant editor Jim Popple. Another new featurette, Heaven Delayed, interview with Powell Pressburger film scholar Ian Christie. And finally, a new one called Unexpected Realism, an interview with author Charles Drazen. The Color Merchant, a short film featuring cinematographer Jack Cardiff from 1998, is also included on this disc, which is a nice little extra. Lastly, we have Black Narcissus from 1947. This also has a Blu-ray. Does it have a 4K? I can't recall at the moment. But one of the great, dark Powell Pressburger films. An acclaimed psychological drama written and directed by Powell and Pressburger, based on the novel by Rumer Godden, starring Deborah Carr, David Farrar, Sabu, and Flora Robinson. A group of Anglican nuns, led by Sister Claudia, are sent to a mountain in the Himalayas. They work to establish a school and a hospital, but slowly their focus shifts. Sister Ruth falls for a government worker, Mr. Dean, and begins to question her vow of celibacy as Sister Ruth obsesses over Mr. Dean. Sister Claudia becomes immersed in her own memories of love. This masterful Technicolor picture explores the danger and allure of fantasy, an artistic accomplishment of no small proportions. 1080p presentation from a restored high definition transfer. New audio commentary by author and critic Kat Ellinger. Audio commentary by co-director Michael Powell and filmmaker Scorsese. So that's cool. You're getting that Criterion Extra, I think. 3 new featurettes in a row. The Strange and the Transgressive, interview with film critic writer Hannah McGill. Alchemy and Reckoning, interview with Powell and Pressburger scholar Ian Christie. And Women at War, video essay by film critic historian Pamela Hutchinson. So those are all new features for this disc. On top of that, we have a profile of Black Narcissus documentary, Painting with Light documentary on cinematographer Jack Cardiff, and Trailers from Hell, Neil Butte on Black Narcissus. So a very cool box set. And as I said, excited that there may be a volume 2 at some point. Okay. Next up, we have another box set, equally exciting in its own way. We have the Alfred Hitchcock Hour Season 1. So we're still waiting on the Alfred Hitchcock Presents proper seasons on Blu-ray, although they are on DVD. But I am less familiar with the 32-hour-long episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, I mean. So this is very exciting stuff. And it's definitely limited, so I would say, consider picking this one up soon, because they were sold out at Diabolic. They had a copy at Orbit DVD. I think you can still order direct from Imprint. There may be some other retailers online that have it, but it is strictly limited, I think, to 1,500. And we're talking about 26 hours and 57 minutes of stuff on 8 discs. And I'll get to the book in a second, but so the Deliciously Murderous series debuts on Blu-ray, a continuation of the long-running Alfred Hitchcock Presents. This 60 series saw their half-hour-long anthology format expand to hour-long episodes delivering groundbreaking tales of murder, mystery, and the macabre that had an unforeseen kick in the tail. With every episode introduced by Hitchcock himself, this landmark television series guested an impressive variety of writers and directors, including one episode directed by Hitchcock himself, and a remarkable lineup of guest stars, including Robert Redford, I think he's in the first episode, R.I.P., Jenna Rollins, Peter Falk, James Mason, Angie Dickinson, and John Forsythe, to name just a few. This is a 1080p presentation of all 32 episodes from Season 1 from new 2K scans of the original 35 negatives by Imprint. So you have your limited edition hard box, which is always lovely. And then you have this 130 page. So we've got 2 discs in here. All right. And so both of these. And then we have our book. This is not a booklet, folks. This is a hardbound, lovely book. 130 page book, featuring original story information for every episode. So, yeah, there's like storyline and cast and crew stuff for every single episode. This is beautiful. I love this. Director Jack Smite. Oh yeah, Jack Smite did a lot of these, didn't he? Yeah, Smite is listed a lot on these. That's interesting. A director not always beloved, but I find him interesting. Definitely a TV guy. Okay, so new audio commentary by screenwriter and film historian Gary Girani on 3 episodes. A Piece of the Action, I Saw the Whole Thing, and Captive Audience. Again, I'm not as familiar with this series, so I don't know those episodes. I'm assuming those are all pretty solid ones. I know a bit more about the Alfred Hitchcock Presents original series, which was a 30-minute episode. And I know which of those episodes are kind of supposed to be the best ones, but this I'm less familiar, so I'm kind of more excited even than to dig into this. Also, new audio commentary by filmmaker, film historian Konstantin Nasser on the Black Curtain episode, and a new audio commentary by film and television historian Reba Wisner on 2 episodes, Ride the Nightmare and the 31st of February, as well as an audio commentary by film historian Steve Mitchell on 2 episodes, Diagnosis, Danger, and Death of a Cop, and lastly, new audio commentary by film historians Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons on 3 episodes, Star Juror, Long Silence, and Dear Uncle George. So we've got 3, 5, 7, 8, 10. So 10 of the 32 episodes have commentaries, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that new 2K scans from original 35 negatives is pretty great. And it's cool that Imprint is doing those. And I got to say, Imprint Television is kind of killing it. Like the Prisoner set they put out a year or so ago is one of my favorite television sets ever. So that just made me more confident about picking this one up. So that is Alfred Hitchcock. Now, next up we have one of the 4Ks from Viavision. We have Point Break. Has a lovely sort of lenticular cover, as you can see there. Now, this has been available on 4K from Shout Factory. And I've spent the morning kind of going through the differences between the two, and it's to me become clear that I think it's a tough call, but I believe the Viavision version may be the one. because both of them are sourced from the same transfer. New master and restoration from a 2023 4K scan of the inner positive in Dolby Vision. They both are listed to be the same transfer online, as far as I can tell. Now, this is just a 2-disc set, a 4K and a Blu-ray, whereas this is a 3-disc set, 4K Blu-ray and special features Blu-ray. And there's more features. So we have 4 featurettes is all that's included here, and we get all of those on this disc. Now, the tricky thing, though, and I've read online, is I want to say that the Viavision disc 4K is a 66 gigabyte disc for the 4K, and the Point Break Shout Factory release is 100 gigabytes. So you've got a slightly more robust encoding on the Shout Factory version, but it's the same scan. So I don't know how marked the difference is, but if you were a full video file, you might want that. However, this disc includes an extra audio track. So it's like this has the I want to say it has a what are they calling it? They don't list it here. I want to say it's the 4.0. It's like from a 70 millimeter release or something like that, and so it's a pretty solid audio. I think the audio is better on this one. So you're kind of torn, like, right? So yeah, this has English 5.1 surround, LPCM 4.0 surround, which is the one I think is from a 70 millimeter print, and then the LPCM 2.0 stereo, whereas this just has the 5.1 and the 2.0. So there's an extra audio track here. One of the big draws, I mean, there's interviews also included, which I'll get to, but one thing I was excited about is my good friend Patrick Bromley does an audio commentary track on this version, which is not included on the Shout Factory version, and that's a reason for me to want this one. It's a really good commentary. He is a wonderful podcaster. If you've not listened to his show, F This Movie, it's a long-running movie show that I've been on a few times and that I always enjoy, and I think Patrick's just a great film scholarly mind and just a good dude with a great voice for commentary. So it was lovely to see and hear him talk about you don't see him here, but to hear him talk about the movie here. And I love Point Break. For those, if I hadn't made that clear, I do think it's one of the great action films in the 1990s, and Patrick makes a case that Keanu is one of the great, or at least one of his favorite action stars ever, and you can make that case. And I have found his career to be fascinating as it has developed and continued over time. It's been really neat to see him go from, big action star in the 90s to doing some other stuff, some more interesting character drama stuff, and then back to John Wick action stardom again lately, and doing all kinds of interesting things in general. Almost like Nick Caging it, just picking some really interesting projects, and I dig him a lot. But the other big selling point for this one is, one, this is a beautiful presentation, right? And it comes with art cards. So you have your different little stills. That are included here, which is great. So that's a nice little touch. And then you have those new featurettes and their interviews, and that is exciting stuff, because it's always neat to hear principal actors and such talk about a classic like this. So what's included? We have a new interview with actor John C. McGinley called Bring Your Flavor, a new interview with actress Lori Petty called It's Not a Fluke, a new interview with writers W. Peter Iliff and Rick King, Death by Honor, that's what that one's called, and Feeling the Stroke, which is a new interview with the Surfer Gang Bo Jesse, Christopher, and Lee Turgison, two of the guys from the gang. And then we have the, previously included featurettes, It's Make or Break, On Location Malibu, Ride the Wave, and Adrenaline Junkies, plus additional scenes that are all included here. I think for my money, I'm going to stick with this and get rid of this. The larger encoding is tempting, but, when I put it up, I don't really see a difference personally, so this is going to go for me. And, Patrick Bromley commentary, come on. Gotta love that. All right, next up we have one more 4K from Viavision. This is Rain Man. There's also a lenticular cover on this one. And this has been released previously through MVD. I can't remember if was it MVD that put it out? Anyway, it is the winner of 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Dustin Hoffman is a triumph in his Oscar-winning role, and Tom Cruise delivers best acting of his career. That's from Newsweek. Charlie Babbitt, Tom Cruise has just discovered he has an autistic brother named Raymond, that's Hoffman, and now is taking him on the ride of his life. Or is it the other way around? From his refusal to drive on major highways to a 4 minutes to Wapner meltdown at an Oklahoma farmhouse, Raymond first pushes hot-headed Charlie to limits of his patience and then pulls him completely out of his self-centered world. But what begins as an unsentimental journey for the Babbitt brothers becomes much more than the distance between two places. It's a connection between two vastly different people and a poignant and profound, powerful film. So this appears to have all the same features as the MVD release. Dolby Vision and HDR presentation on the 4K of the film. Audio commentary by Barry Levinson, the director. Audio commentary by writer Barry Morrow. Audio commentary by writer Ronald Bass. Those 3 commentaries all included on the 4K. And then on the Blu-ray, this is just a 2-disc set. We have those commentaries, deleted scene, the journey of Rain Man featurette, Lifting the Fog, a look at the mysteries of autism featurette as well. And I believe that matches up with the MVD release. So if you have that one, you won't need this, but this does include this nice full color book. Instead of art cards, we have them in book form, basically, which is nice if you're into that sort of thing. So that's included. This is a 60-page booklet with stunning production stills. So that is the Rain Man 4K limited edition. And then lastly, we have one more box set here. We have 2 remakes of Hitchcock movies. These are the 39 Steps, but not the 1935. This is the 1978 remake, and the Lady Vanishes, not the 1938, but rather the 1979 version. And these are both Blu-ray debuts. These spectacular remakes of Alfred Hitchcock classics burst into the big screen in the 70s, boasting big stars and epic set pieces. Packaged together in a limited edition hardbox, rediscovering these thrilling films of espionage, intrigue, and adventure. 1,500 copies only. So, as you can see, Sybil Shepherd is in one of them. She is in the Lady Vanishes remake. And then you have the 39 Steps. Now, I have seen the Lady Vanishes remake. I have not seen the 39 Steps remake, so I'm kind of really curious about that one. Robert Powell, David Warner, Eric Porter, and John Mills. Interesting. Okay, so I think this is an intriguing box set to have. So Elliot Gould also part of the cast in the Lady Vanishes. Okay, so 39 Steps, 78. Robert Powell stars as Richard Hannay in this big budget Rank Organization adaptation of John Buchanan's novel. Rank Organization also worked with Powell and Pressburger. So this, the year is 1914, and Richard Hannay, mining engineer who is visiting Britain for a short time before returning to South Africa, is shocked when one of his neighbors, Colonel Scudder, bursts into his rooms one night and tells him a story that the Prussian sleeper agents are planning to murder a visiting foreign minister. When Scudder is murdered and Hannay is framed, he flees to Scotland, attempting to clear his name and uncovers a high-level conspiracy. So, as I said, also starring John Mills, David Warner, and Karen Dotrice. 1080p presentation on Blu-ray from a new 2024 2K scan and restoration. So that's cool. 3 new featurettes: remaking a classic, interview with executive producer James Kenelm Clark; Hannay Hanging On, interview with stunt coordinator Colin Skeeping; and Every Second Counts, interview with film historian Sergio Angelini, as well as an On Location with Robert Powell archival featurette. So that's very cool. And again, Blu-ray debut, and a Blu-ray debut for Lady Vanishes from '79. Elliot Gould, Sybil Shepherd, and Angela Lansbury star in this Hammer Films take on the classic mystery. On the eve of World War II, zany heiress Amanda Kelly, that is of course Sybil Shepherd, travels by train to Switzerland. When passing through Germany, she meets a sweet elderly lady who suddenly vanishes. Distraught, she questions her fellow passengers, who claim the woman was never there. Unsure if it's all in her mind and if there's more of a sinister plot afoot, Amanda teams up with photographer Robert Condon to discover the truth. That's, of course, Elliot Gould. So this is also a 1080p high-definition presentation on Blu-ray from a new 2K scan of the original 35 negative by Imprint Films. 3 new featurettes: Disappearing Act, Elliot Gould Finds the Vanished Lady. This is an interview with actor Elliot Gould. Fantastic. Exciting to have that. Something called The Last Hammer, interviews with the production crew. And something called The End of the Line featurette. And then there's, of course, an archival interview with actress Angela Lansbury from 1978. So you have theatrical teasers and trailers as well. 2:35 to 1 aspect ratio, audio, LPCM 2.0 mono. 39 steps is 185, LPCM mono 2.0 also. Both have English subtitles as well. So very exciting to get Blu-ray debuts like this of somewhat obscure Hitchcock remakes. But yeah, that'll do it for this round of Imprint and Viavision discs, Australian imports, if you will. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.